Ronald Copeland, Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, Senior Vice President for Diversity, Strategy, and Policy. As a member and officer of Kaiser Permanente, we've had a long-standing relationship with DiversityMBA. As a result of that, Kaiser Permanente became its first Hall of Fame organization by being #1 on their benchmarking activity for 3 years in a row. And for the last year and a half, I've been a participant on DiversityMBA Advisory Leadership Board and currently chair that group. Well, I think the culture is one of great pride in terms of achieving and accomplishing something that's very important to us. But more importantly, it creates an opportunity for mutual learning and sharing with other organizations of like mind about best practices. And anytime we engage with organizations, we learn as much as we share. So it's a great environment for shared learning, for taking pride in accomplishing the mission, and most importantly, having an impact on people's lives in a positive way. Well, what helps Kaiser Permanente build its commitment and achievement in the diversity and inclusion space starts with leadership. When leaders of organizations like Kaiser Permanente and others take diversity and inclusion seriously, both as it relates to our values and our corporate culture and mission, as well as see it as fully integrated into our business strategy. So it really is a strategic activity. When those two things are blended and cascaded through the organization, increasingly folks are kept informed, continually learning in that space, looking for opportunities to improve because of the understanding and value of continuous learning and continuous improvement. And then the accountability, building that into our core metrics about what matters and where we want to have impact, and then leveraging that to achieve both business and mission results. In our case, we also have the benefit and value of that being a core part of our long-standing history of commitment to diversity and inclusion back from our founding fathers. We partner with DiversityMBA and other organizations because of our desire for continuous learning. And while we have very rich infrastructure and talent within the organization, we've also learned that to continue learning, to discover cutting-edge innovations, and to adopt best practices from others in the field, you have to have a way of connecting with folks. And so DiversityMBA gave us a great opportunity for being part of a network of learning, to have access to those skills and knowledge, as well as help us with our approach to talent management and the benchmarking, which has given us a way of ranking ourselves and our achievement against others in the industry to see where we stand and to identify opportunities for continuous improvement. I've been on the advisory board almost 2 years now. Well, I think DiversityMBA, if we think about our strategic business plan and the strength we bring to the marketplace, it's really learning, it's talent acquisition, talent management, and helping people appreciate the value of the business side of deploying diversity assets. And so a conference like this brings great opportunities for corporations, large and small, to be visible, to build their brands, to bring their practitioners and leaders into this space for shared learning and development, as well as celebrating the accomplishments that have been achieved. And that is really important in terms of understanding the cross-cultural pollination, cross-industry pollination around what folks are doing, what we have in common, and what's different. So I think it's a very ambitious agenda, but very well received by the community. And the good news is the participation level is growing every year. So we must be resonating with a value proposition that is valued by folks we serve. Well, so some people have raised the question that diversity may be in crisis. And I think that may mean different things to different people, but I think a couple of themes emerge from that statement. One is, has the corporate environment at a point where it feels like it has done enough in the diversity space in terms of representation and teaching people about the value of diversity, and therefore is really not seeing it as a strategic business asset. Where the conversation really is going and needs to go is to really around diversity, unfinished business, and then adopting and moving in the direction of inclusion. Diversity is self-evident. if you have a diverse population in any of a number of ways, it's evident. The real question is, how do you leverage diversity to achieve higher productivity of your workforce, greater engagement of your workforce, and innovation at a time where creativity is at a premium. And to do that, you really have to have a leadership orientation and create an inclusive culture that really says we value difference, and our commitment is to get the most out of all the values and differences that our employees represent to do our business at the highest level. And so I think the diversity crisis is that piece, as well as recognizing that across every industry, the consumer industry, the healthcare industry, and so forth, as the demographic shifts are occurring across this country and the demand for consumer services is increasing with the request, I would say maybe a stronger word than request, the demand for customization. That's putting an increased burden on organizations to demonstrate their competency and effectiveness in adapting their service delivery model to people and patients in healthcare who are quite different. And not everyone is geared up to do that effectively, so that's created some challenges as well.